Hello everybody, welcome to the Wonky Angle, where I talk about electronic music, both new and old. And today, I'm talking about a self-titled debut from Rumpistol. Alright, we're getting into the next discography review, and it's a special one in that brief window of time when I allowed people to pay for discography review requests on my Patreon page. I got this request from Philip550C. Thanks again. And this series is going to be a first for this channel because before getting said request, I had never heard of this guy. The only connection he has with an artist I know was that Blue Tech apparently remixed his single Eyes Wide Open and included that in his EP series The Four Horsemen of the Electrocalypse. And I've been told that Tipper was a big fan of his debut here, but that's about it. I'm doing a series on an artist I otherwise have basically no personal connection to at all. I heard all this guy's albums for the first time around the time I reviewed Outakers XI like a month ago. Now, it is worth noting that this series is going to be pretty short. It's going to be like that series I did a few years ago on Magic Sound Fabric, both in the sense that it's not likely to get many views at all, and that there's only going to be 5 videos, one for each of his 5 studio albums. For 2 of those albums, I'll also review an EP that's semi-related and gave me some discussion material, but I'm not going to do an odds and ends, a top 10 list, or a worst to best ranking for this guy, as I don't think I'd really have enough to say for those. But yeah, I do have things to say about these 5 albums, so how about we get into it? We just got done with 2 pretty lengthy series, one of an ambient artist and one of an IDM duo, and now we're gonna talk about an artist who makes downtempo IDM! Okay, yeah, Rumpistol isn't exactly anything out of my usual element. He sounds like a lot of different artists I've covered over the years. My thoughts when first hearing this self-titled debut went towards early Taiko and Fortet, Caribou's Start Breaking My Heart, Apparat's first album, Tipper's The Seamless Unspeakable Something, some of which Rumpistol predates, but not all. Wouldn't be surprised if he was a direct influence on the latter. The style he showcases here is definitely detailed and rhythmic enough to qualify as IDM in my eyes, but it's a very comfy, warm, pleasant, low-key variation on the style. On first listen to this thing, I thought it was fine, if nothing particularly special or delivering anything I hadn't heard before, but with more repeat listens, it slowly kept growing on me. Like, I gave this a spin right after finishing that Porter Robinson video and having kinda gotten sick of that guy's style. This hit the absolute perfect spot for me right after that. Do I think this album is great? No. It's kinda inconsistent, but it is pretty good as a whole. Some tracks felt kinda plain and background music-y, but others hit me pretty effectively, and all of it was at least pleasant to have on. I can't imagine this is going to be the kind of project for everyone. Undoubtedly there will be people who find the whole thing rather dull, but I was able to get into it more easily than most of those other examples of similar low-key blends of IDM. He's definitely not on the level of early Fortet, but I'd still take this over past his prologue, Start Breaking My Heart, or the first Apparat thing. It's pretty good. So let's talk individual tracks. The tone is set right away on opener Morgenfugle, letting you know what you're getting into. A mix of shifting low-key percussion, deep electric pianos, and some upright bass, maybe, with a few reversed guitars and synth bleeping. The kind of thing that matches the mood of waking up in the morning, for better or worse. It's nice. I did really like the second track, though. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the title. That's the one that looks kind of like an address. If the opener is waking up in the morning, this one's like going on a walk to work under an overcast sky. Similarly low-key mix of electric pianos and synths with lots of sounds of cars passing, a bit of a steadier and more solid beat, and this distinctive pitched-up vocal chop that isn't saying any words in particular. It's like somewhere between being uplifting and depressing and hard to put my finger on, but the mood expressed within is one that I've certainly at least felt a lot. That's a definite highlight for me. Next track, Mexico, aims to be a sunnier companion to that track. Lots of chopped up and glitched guitars, and a slightly more positive tone, I suppose. First listen to this thing, this was probably my pick for least favorite, as it felt like the most instrumentally plain moment in the bunch, but it was also a definite grower. Feels like a bit of a mood brightener that doesn't feel cheesy. Similar feelings on following track, Nice Man. At least I do quite like its casual and similarly positive leaning vibe. Also, the drums and plucky guitars have a bit more of a dubby feel to them, which is nice. The vocal samples talking about, oh, he's a nice man, the kind of guy you'd shake hands with. They were a neat touch too, even if I'm not huge on the way they were like time stretched and they didn't sound amazing. But those airy Pink Floyd style guitars were really nice too. Then we get to one of my least favorite moments in the project, Walnuts and Waltz. This track at least does have a distinctive sound, as the title implies it's in 3/4 time, and the detached vocal snippets droning on about, you can't be the president. They make for a track that's easy to recognize when it comes up while not feeling out of place. But the track kinda drags on a bit too long, and the mood created by it is weirdly unpleasant in a way that doesn't totally feel intentional. It's fine, but not one I particularly look forward to. Thankfully, it's followed up by 3 tracks in a row that I would all consider highlights in the track listing. Two Lone Swampsons has a bit more energy and drive to it, with repetitive samples of what sounds like someone pouring out a bag of sand, and going up against a nice little groove that has the sprightly but mysterious pizzicato string plucks as its lead melody. Doop 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 doop. That one always sticks out to me whenever it comes up. I like that one. Then you got Tænkepause, another moodier track with lots of warm but rough blends of synth pads shifting around its thin but jazzy percussion patterns, some marginally harsher glitchy effects coming in later, and even a few vibraphone melodies here and there. I think you can tell how that one became a highlight for me. This track is also the longest in the bunch at a little over 6 minutes, but it does have more progression and command over its mood than Walnuts and Waltz. Doesn't feel like it drags in the same way. But then you got Tangoboy, possibly the best track in the bunch. The beat is among the most energetic out of all of these, much more fast-paced and also bongo-heavy, going up against lots of quick synth plucks and this kind of romantic minor key piano chord progression. Also do love the upright bass and lead clarinet melodies on this one. It sounds great, has this odd sense of European nostalgia, and stuck out to me super immediately. The last 2 tracks aren't as huge favorites, but neither are they particularly big low points. The mix of vinyl crackling and various moody synth plucks on Gargamel and Cholek didn't stick out to me immediately, but I did eventually get into its darker mood. Might have even caught a glitched up flute sample or 2 or 3 in there. That's nice. And the closer, Hey Man, does kinda meander on a bit long, but its synth pads give me a bit of a Norkin vibe. Its electric piano progressions are butter smooth, and it's even got a little bit of a saxophone in the mix, which is a nice touch. Alongside the mini breakdowns of low-key glitches and vocal snippets that mostly blend into the other tracks on here. So yeah, that's Rumpistol self-titled. It's pretty nice. I mean, I'm not gonna act like I thought it was incredible. I came out of it with similar feelings to when I came out of Tipper's Jettison Mind Hatch. Like, it definitely has its appeal, but having listened to so much downtempo in this particular mold, it didn't really stick out as anything I couldn't get elsewhere or better, aside from an isolated standout moment or 2. I do think Rumpistol's work would go on to have a little more of a recognizable identity as his career's gone on. This one, by comparison, feels kinda derivative. But this project has totally different strengths from Jettison Mind Hatch. Like, that was an album that was specifically designed to impress you with its sound design and attention to detail and insane production level. Rumpistol, meanwhile, is not trying to impress anyone with this album. It's one of the least pretentious albums I've heard in some time. The production is pretty average for the genre, and everything is extremely low-key and casual, but the attention to detail is still there, even if none of it is specifically trying to grab your attention. And all of these tracks do have an identity apart from each other, while still all sonically fitting together. There's even quite a few standouts that I could recall the sound of while not listening to the project at all. So, yeah, take that all as you will. It's not a new all-time favorite by any stretch, but it's certainly worth a shot if you're curious. It's a nice album. I'm overall feeling a 7.3 out of 10. But of course, this is just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with it, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, so leave the comments in the comment thing down there. Shout out to my Patreon supporters, they're awesome people. You want to add yourself to that list or make me review something, link to my Patreon is in the description. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all for today. See you next time.